and welcome everyone. Nirmal Shah here, the director at British Imperial University College, Sharjah, UAE, and your host and moderator of the panel discussion today. I would like to welcome Dr. Rick Carleton, the Associate Dean of Sprott Business School, Carleton University from Ottawa, Canada. Welcome Mr. Sandesh Mistry, the Senior Advisor to the Board of Directors at British Imperial Education Institutions Group. Welcome Mr. Yogendra Chaudhary, the Vice President of ECO Canada. It's a great moment today where we have an illustrious panel from multiple regions of the world. Somebody who is from the industry, somebody who is from the academia. And our panel discussion for today is going to be focused on ideas around sustainability, environment friendliness, and innovation, the role of education and academia in supporting and fostering the ecosystem of startups and innovation globally. Dr. Rick, being the Associate Dean of Sprott Business School from the prestigious Carleton University, can you tell us more about how Sprott Business School is helping international students take global education in Canada and make it successful in their careers going forward?
Well, I think the main thing that we do at Sprott is that we engage our students in learning that's applied and it's practical. So while some programs are really focused on here's the theory, here are these models, we look at theory and we look at practice. And so what's important is that when you start to learn and when we bring you into the classroom, we get you to do things. We get you to learn by doing. So we use design methodologies, design thinking, we stress critical thinking, and then we look at how do you engage with the community. And that could be the international community, that could be your local community, it could be lots of different communities. From an international perspective, we bring in international entrepreneurs from globally. We encourage our students to have international experiences by traveling. And then we set up partnerships that allow us to engage more directly with other students. And so we have exchanges between students. And, what we're looking for is also exchanges with faculty so that we can all benefit from some approach to internationalization around education.
Wow. So you touched upon international partnerships as well. And you also touched upon being able to support international students who come over and study at Sprott Business School. Based on your past experience, what's been the kind of percentage of students who have studied at Sprott Business School who are coming from different countries of the world, and finally after their education they are able to make a successful career in Canada, they are able to stay back in Canada? What's the kind of percentage of such students?
Well, I mean, the opportunity is that 100% of the students who come to Canada and complete their studies successfully and comply with the regulations that we've got in Canada can work and stay and potentially immigrate to Canada, right? That's part of what we do in terms of the educational side. But it really depends on the person, it depends on the program they're a part of and their background and experience.
Mr. Sandesh, you have mentored so many startups over your career. Why do you think that formally an innovation hub or an incubation center is of importance for the startups in today's times, and what should be the role that such incubation centers or innovation hubs should play for the success of these startups?
Okay, I think that it's a sandbox concept where you have idea, but actually you need something where you can experiment it and see to it that you can create an executionable idea which can be scaled up into a business. Because all of us have ideas, but not all ideas are necessarily the right ideas which can scale up and become a business. So I think there it plays a great role of an incubation center where the experienced people can come, mentors can come, the people from academia can come, and they can give their inputs to the student. Because students generally have ideas, they know what is happening around them, they try to identify the opportunities, but somebody has to crystallize that into an executionable ideas which is scalable. I think that is a very, very important role that incubation center can play.
Dr. Yogendra, sustainability, environment friendliness are the buzzwords today. And the name of the organization that you lead itself, spells out Eco Canada as, being eco-friendly. So can you tell us more about Eco Canada and the value it adds to the industries and the ecosystem in Canada?
Thank you, Nirmal. Eco Canada was established in early 90s with a mandate for growing the environmental sector in Canada. So we were funded and supported by the Government of Canada to help Canadian environmental sector grow. And how we do that is through a number of programs. So early on, we established the National Occupational Standards for Environmental Sector. And using that, we started certifying the Canadian environment professionals. Now we work with the academic programs worldwide to help them customize their programs to adapt to the labor market needs. So one of our early findings was many times the students, they graduate and then employers say the students are not yet job ready. So we exist to plug in those gaps, support the environmental sector, meet those demands. We work with the employers, we work with the government, we work with the colleges and universities to help them adapt to the growing market needs and support those programs in customizing, adapting, and preparing students so that they are job ready when they graduate.
Awesome. How would Eco Canada be able to help international students or international professionals? Are there any programs specifically inclined towards?
Yeah. So as I said, most of our programs are focused on how do we grow the Canadian environmental sector. Now, if you look at Canadian workforce, majority of our workforce are very mixed. We have people from all nationalities, we have people from different countries, different backgrounds, and environmental sector is no different. We have done a number of market research reports focused on sectors, subsector requirements, as well as what are the kind of mix we are getting. So all our programs are designed to to help the students prepare for the environmental workforce and be able to find the job. One of our program is helping students find the job through wage funding. Now this wage funding is available for the students so that they can get those funding and this helps them find an employment in the environmental sector. Now we have similar programs designed for the immigrants. As we see, a lot of immigrant workforce comes in Canada and there are a number of barriers which becomes one of the key factors how they cannot integrate into the workforce. One of the barriers is if you don't have a local experience, you don't get a job. Many employers, they prefer if you have a local experience, you're more job ready for us. So we remove that barrier through our immigrant bridging programs. We work with the immigrant students, we work with the workforce to help them acquire local qualifications, local certifications in the sector. And then we also provide wage funding, training, mentorship for immigrant workers. So that way, and there are no age limits for those programs, so an immigrant worker or a student can be from any age group. And if they work with us, we will be creating custom programs for the immigrant participants based on their requirement, including the wage funding, training, mentorship, assistance in local certifications. And those fundings are not, those supports are not one time. So throughout the 1 year period, we will be providing those mentorship support to the students so that they are able to easily integrate into the workforce.
Awesome. Dr. Rick, how do you plan to take Sprott Business School brand out to the world? What are your plans for further internationalization for Sprott Business School?
Well, I think that a lot of what we do is around internationalization. I mean, we connect with universities and colleges globally, not only here, but also in the UK, in Europe, the United States. So we have lots of international partnerships. Some of them are focused on research, some of them are focused on incubators, innovation hubs, and then some of them are focused on our programs, our MBA programs, where we're actively recruiting students to international. So I think we're pretty active around that internationalization. We do it at a lot of different levels. And then we've got dedicated teams to work with our international students to make sure that they're successful, to make sure that everything runs smoothly for them and they have a great experience.
Awesome. Do you see any possibility of Canadian startups using your partnerships of innovation hub across the globe, take an opportunity to move out of Canada and establish their businesses outside Canada? For example, you have recently entered into a partnership with Brits Imperial University College in Sharjah, UAE to set up your innovation hub and incubation center. Do you see any possibility of Canadian startups having interest in exploring the MENA region through the Innovation Hub?
Yeah,
here?
100%. And the government supports that, right? Because, there's a real desire for us to get out in the world and have our entrepreneurs and our businesses get out into the world. And we have conversations, not only here, but in other countries around bringing our entrepreneurs, out to experience, other environments, other business environments. And so it's a priority. And we see that there's opportunities to go both ways, right? Not only have our students come here, but your students come into Canada and into Ottawa, in our case, with the Sprout School of Business, to experience our entrepreneurship ecosystem, to see what it is like to do business there, and to potentially meet angel investors in Canada. So we see it as very much a two-way piece. We see that it has to be mutually beneficial, and we think it's a great opportunity for our students.
Can I add something here?
Sure.
Yeah, thanks, Rick. Yeah, we have a lot of experience in working very closely with the Innovation Hub. And one thing which we have noticed that Innovation Hub is very well prepared and very informed. So the programs are very much customizable based on the emerging market needs. The program can be quickly adapted. And that really helps the student to stay very current with what's happening. So that kind of flexibility and that kind of preparedness you don't see like in a lot of places. And that's a very unique benefit which I see your students will have in working together with Innovation.
I think that's a great point, that
Yeah.
it's responsive, right?
That's right, yeah.
Very responsive, and
Yeah.
we're very current.
Agile, current, responsive,
right, yeah.
customizing,
Yeah.
I mean, I can see the words all around flexibility and,
Right.
and that's the true essence of support.
That's right, yeah.
Mr. Sandesh, you have had experience in dealing with startups from the Asian region as well. Do you feel that there would be any interest for the startups from the Asian markets to explore in Middle East and Canada using an innovation hub or an incubation center facility in this region, especially at Prince Imperial University College's Sharjah campus?
Definitely. I think business is no longer local, and there are a lot of opportunities that on the world scale that we are looking at. If you see all the new age businesses that are coming up, the ideas, they are aggregators, they are fintech, they are retailing. So all these opportunities are globally same, and most of the business models which are coming up are highly scalable and they are adaptable to the local environment. So I think it makes a lot of sense, and I think days have gone where you have to think local. You have to think global, because world as a market, if you see, then only you can see the scalability that you want. And that is a business which can make sense for investors as well as the entrepreneurs.
I think you've touched upon very important aspects, that global is what everybody is going, but local is important. So these days we are global, you see.
Absolutely.
We are taking businesses global and customizing it, as you said, and bespoking it for the need of the local markets. So going local is, what's your take on that?
Well, I think the other part of this is that there are ways in which you'll have companies in India who are far ahead of companies in Canada, and the opportunity is to bring that innovation.
Absolutely.
And and vice versa, right? And so we need to remember that innovation happens all over the world, not just in the Western world, and that it's important that we get innovations coming into Canada. We support that. I think that's key.
Dr. Rick, if I can add, I think in India, fintech has become so well penetrated as an industry that you can move anywhere without cash.
Yeah.
Your phone is as good as cash.
Yeah.
And even a local fruit vendor or a vegetable vendor is accepting GPay or UPI and all those kind of things. I mean, that's a tremendous opportunity.
Yeah, that's right. And that experience is important to bring that into Canada.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Whereas a lot of working professionals are looking at entrepreneurial stints and opportunities of themselves, having ideas and after so many years of experience, starting up to implement those ideas. But there's a large set of working professionals who are wanting to continuously develop professionally. As you rightly mentioned, that innovation and entrepreneurship is not only about starting, it's all about implementing a great idea, taking it to the market, even when working with a large corporation or a multinational company, or even if it's a mid-sized company. So there is a large diaspora of such professionals who want to benefit from innovation and apply it in their work life and take their companies ahead. So Dr. Rick, what are the areas which Sprott Business School or Carleton University is working to support such professionals, executives in continuing their professional development?
Well, we've got the professional MBA, we call it PMBA, that's specifically focused at that. So it's working professionals who want to stay in the job that they're at, but they're looking at how can I be more innovative, how can I be entrepreneurial within my organization. And so we give them the skills and the ability to do that. But not only that, we allow them to explore other sectors, right, and learn from other sectors. And so the way that we teach is that because it's so experiential, what it allows us to do is it allows us to share our experiences. And what we find is that the classroom becomes a really safe space to really share those experiences, share the failures, share the successes, and learn from that, right? And our faculty are really good at bringing that out and really reinforcing that learning. And we see a lot of benefit that comes out of that. And it creates these entrepreneurial employees or leaders or senior managers. Right? Yeah.
So you bring in the advantage of peer learning, collaborative learning for these busy executive professionals who otherwise would hesitate to experiment it in work life, but they can experiment it in the safe environment of a classroom.
Well, we also give them time to do that, because when you're working every day, you don't have time to think, right? You have time to respond or execute. But what that allows us to do is it allows us to get them to step back and to take the time and to reflect.
Absolutely.
And it allows them to not only reflect on their own situation and position, but of their colleagues as well in class, right? So it's a great learning experience.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen, for adding. Thank you, gentlemen, for such wonderful ideas, thoughts, and sharing your experiences. I'm sure this will be of great benefit to the audience. Thank you for being a part of the panel discussion, and have a nice evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for inviting us.